Right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for attending the Discovery Skills session tonight. I'm here for you to ask any questions that you have of me throughout the process. I've earmarked half an hour for the session tonight, and I'm just going to run through a few slides with you about why people take the course, what value they get out of it, and hopefully some of that might resonate with you about where you are right now. And as I say, very happy to answer questions towards the end of the session to see if I've obviously answered quite a few of those questions for you as we go through. Really, this session is for you to understand what consultancy skills are, why you might skill up in them, what the value can be for you, and to help you think about how that can help you increase your salary and your confidence, etc., as well as we go through the programme today. So why learn consultancy skills? That's always the first question people have. Quite often when you start that Salesforce journey, you'll learn Salesforce admin, and then it's like, what next? And obviously you have a suite of technical competencies that you need to learn as a Salesforce professional. So then you'll start learning about the different additional advanced admin capabilities, the different products, the different clouds. So you've got that learning process from a technical point of view. But similarly, whenever you're working on implementations, there are a set of skills that you need to facilitate conversations with the stakeholders. And that's quite often what people have been missing. They don't realise that there's a professional skill set around business analysis, agile project management, and change management. And I really found this starting out as a freelance Salesforce professional. I was like, right, I know how to build a system. And I quickly realized that I didn't know how to document things. I didn't know how to prioritize things. I didn't know how to really gather requirements in a professional way. And that led me to understand, say, what these consultancy skill sets are. So the reason people sign up for our consultancy skills program is because they want to boost their confidence and overcome imposter syndrome. They suddenly realize, great, I've got my admin cert, all those certifications, but I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really know what questions I'm meant to be asking in order to build a system. I can build a system, but I don't know how to translate what the people need to it. And that can really affect your confidence and make you feel like you're an imposter, because actually at that point you are an imposter. You're still really not knowing what you're doing if you don't have some of these skill sets in your bag, unless you're partnered in a team with some of those people who've got these skill sets. So it's for people to build their confidence and feel like actually they are qualified to do the role. And that's very much what I found personally about why I skilled up in these areas. The second thing, and the reason why it gives you confidence, is it gives you a professional way to deliver projects. And on our course, we give you a whole set of templates and tools to help give you questions. So if you're going to implement Sales Cloud, we'll give you a set of questions that you'll ask around that Sales Cloud project, business analysis questions, so you know what you're asking. We'll give you the set of questions for Service Cloud or the non-profit cloud. And so you're not going out there going, oh, what am I going to ask? You already have all the questions that you need. So we've got a whole suite of templates that I'll share with you that really just set you up for success, will blow somebody away at interview, quite frankly, if you walk into an interview with all these templates. And equally, when you start a job, you'll be like, I know what I'm asking because I've got the questions here. The second is that makes you a trusted, authoritative Salesforce professional, because if you turn up with all those tools and templates, people are like going to be, wow, that's really impressive. And I've never had that in an interview. Whenever I've interviewed Salesforce consultants, I'm like, okay, so what tools and techniques and how have you documented things? They've not been able to show me anything, and that doesn't give me confidence they know what they're doing. So I've had to then go and teach them or put them on training courses. So believe me when I say that you can be head and shoulders above so many people at interview and in jobs by just being equipped with all these tools and templates. You will look like you are authoritative, and they will trust you because you have all these toolkits in place. And if you do it all in these right way, this leads me on to step 4, really, is that will avoid project failure. I guarantee over the 700 projects I've coordinated with a team of consultants, that if business analysis, agile project management, and change management isn't handled properly on that project as it should be, that's exactly when a project fails. It's nothing to do with how you build Sales Cloud or how you configure a flow. The reasons why projects fail and don't get adopted is because of poor business analysis, lack of agile project management, and poor change management, which means stakeholders aren't involved. And I guarantee they're the reasons. And they're I'd always be like, why did those things get missed? It was because something got missed that should have been in the process, and was rarely like, you know, a problem that you'd see and go, okay, well, why did that happen? It was because something got missed in the process that should have been in there. So with these techniques, you will have project success if you apply the disciplines properly. And that means that you get those great customer stories, because you get projects where the CRM is highly adopted by everybody. It's doing exactly what they want it to do. It's helping the business or the non-profit form. And that's what we talk about as a Salesforce Trailblazer success story, right? And I guarantee you, the projects that I've had in those 700, it's where one of those things has been missed, that we haven't had that Trailblazer story, and we've had to go in and sort of revamp it a little bit. And the fifth element of this, which obviously always piques everybody's interest, is your earning potential. So typically, if you've got a business analysis skill set and all these templates, you'll be, the salary surveys show that as a BA, you're earning 10K on average more than a Salesforce admin. So by adding these skill sets onto your CV, you can negotiate a higher salary or that promotion, or you can switch jobs. And a lot of people that come on our courses will do one of those three things as they go through. So you are head and shoulders above, you know, putting yourself out there. And being able to, say, negotiate that higher salary because you're more skilled than somebody who doesn't have them. So they're typically the 5 reasons. And I say the increase in salary is something that people are very interested in. So if you look at the increase in salaries that you would get from an admin to a consultant or a BA, project manager, they all earn more. Typically, it's on 10K or more higher than that. And doing this course has allowed people to land those jobs in the consultancies where they wouldn't have been able to otherwise, because it's given them a foot in the door when they've had years out of work. Like, we've had people who've not had any Salesforce experience do our admin, do our consultancy skills course, and walk into a really well-paid job in a consultancy because they've done that with no previous Salesforce experience. So it's why we encourage people to do, you know, the double whammy course, because it will accelerate your earning potential from the start. It will help you get into the new jobs quicker, and it will just, ramp you up so much quicker. But it's really up to you to sort of take that step and have that sort of appetite, really, as that. But you will even win an admin job quicker and easier and negotiate a higher salary if you've got these skill sets. So they're the salary sort of potential and scale on that. Now, what am I talking about with these essential skill mixes? Well, the softer skills as a Salesforce professional, you've got the Salesforce certifications down here, which is quite often what people focus on. But as I say, when I started out as a freelance Salesforce consultant, I was quickly realizing that I didn't know how to document or how to ask questions in a professional way. And my background was business coaching. So I was very used to asking questions of a business owner about their KPIs and their processes and what they wanted to achieve. So the coaching skills came very naturally, being able to ask questions about a business, right? Everything is, well, that's not hard, but being able to ask them in a way that is suitable for a CRM project, and being able to ask them to know how to build a CRM project was different. And I personally went on a Salesforce consultancy course that they did at the time, which was a 5-day consultancy skills course, and that blew my mind. And actually, what I had to do was the system that I had designed for my own business at the time. I did my admin course, built a system for my organization. Luckily, it hadn't really gone live at this point because my organization was relatively still small. But I then did the consultancy skills course. I had to come back and rewire the whole system because I realized I'd built it wrong, because it gave me that oversight of like, oh, now I get how I need to design a system rather than build a system. And that's what I now teach people on this course, because that course doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't exist in the Salesforce ecosystem. So I teach all the principles I learned on that consultancy skills course here. But in addition, I also did a 4-week business analysis training course. I did a week-long change management course. I did a week-long agile project management course. And I've also got 3 weeks worth of coaching skills training. I did an NLP practitioner certification, which is 3 weeks. So I spent over £11,000 on my professional skill set. But when I looked at that, my day rate that I was charging as a Salesforce professional was £400, right? So I'm like, well, it's like, that's okay, because I'm going to earn that back in how many days. It was worth the investment to me. Now, we're not saying that you have to go and do that. You obviously can go and do more those fully fledged courses in any capacity if you want to spend that amount of money. But what I realised at Supermums is that we could skill you up in all of those things and make them much more tailored to a Salesforce project by pulling all that learning together and making a very hands-on practical project. Because I've overseen so many projects, I know what the templates are, I know what really matters and what doesn't matter. And there was a lot of general theory in those courses that I did that is very difficult to think about how you would apply on a Salesforce project because they're very generic. And so what we did is kind of pull everything together as part of it. But these are all the different sort of skill sets, and I'll talk a little bit more about them in a moment. So if we're thinking about what is business analysis, so business analysis is where you are properly understanding the business priorities, understanding the business processes. So we look at how you can build a business case. We teach you how to process map on like work through a sort of different processes of people and how to map that out. Think about how to gather the requirements, the functional requirements, the non-functional requirements, and then the technical requirements that come as part of that, and how to document everything properly. Because if you don't document it, which is where some people can get very sloppy, that's a prime point where things will go wrong on a project, because there'll be no agreed requirements. Things will get built. The customer will like be wondering, why is that being built? Who prioritized that? There's no sort of documentation, as say, and it kind of all falls out of bed, and then you have a project that goes over time and over budget. So business analysis is very important, and there is, you know, as I said, my course that I did was 4 weeks long, and I condensed a lot of that into this course that we run at Supermums to give you that knowledge of what you need to know in order to run a CRM project, because there was lots of different theories in there that, you know, yes, could be valuable, but the reality is that, you know, you need core disciplines. So business analysis is all about understanding the business need and translating that to make sure that the Salesforce project hits the priorities of those business. Then you've got change management, which is really about understanding organizational culture. So what many people don't realize is that different organizations will have different cultures, and you'll need to approach a Salesforce project in a different way based on the culture of that organization. Underneath the culture, you then have lots of different stakeholders with a lot of different personalities and appetite for a Salesforce project. So some people, there'll be, you talk about 4 different stakeholders groups. There'll be those that love the fact that Salesforce is coming. There'll be those that ignore it because they don't think it was relevant to them. There'll be those that are angry about it. And so you've got different people in different camps, and with those you have to tackle it in very different ways to get their buy-in. And so change management is very much around having a robust communication strategy. It's about understanding all those different emotions, those different cultures, thinking about how you're going to tackle a project, how you're going to build relationships with people. And that's not just down to you as a Salesforce consultant, it's also about how you upward manage the executive sponsors and get their buy-in, because you have to tell them what they need to do, because they won't know if they've never done it before. And then also you'll need a team around you, so they're all doing their different parts. And so it's very much about managing people, and that's again where Salesforce projects go wrong, is because stakeholders aren't enthused, engaged and empowered. And they're my 3 E's that I always talk about. Is you want to be able to walk in there and know how to facilitate the culture and the approach to all of those different nuances, so you are engaging people. The reason I did the change management course was because I was probably on my 3rd Salesforce project, and I was in a room of people, and I had some guy that was completely negative about the system and kept bringing the workshop and the conversations down all the time. I was like, God, I don't know how to manage this. I don't know what to do, because it just kept distracting and, I say, bring everybody down. And I didn't know how to facilitate that sort of outcome, because I always thought that everybody's going to be really excited about Salesforce and they're all going to be on board with it. That's not the case. It definitely is not the case. You will have people in your workshops who are not on board with it, who don't engage, that don't get things done. And if they're not engaged and enthused, they won't get the work done, and then your project will get delayed. If you have people who are anti the CRM, like this guy was, he will create poison ivy, and then everybody will disconnect from it. So there are very significant situations if people, as say, are not bothered by it, are ignoring it, are angry about it, that can hijack your whole project. And if you don't know how to facilitate that, then you're in trouble. because that will take you off rails. If you're in a room where everybody's like really excited about it, and that's partly your role as a Salesforce professional as well, is you've got to understand how to get everybody excited, and we teach that on the course. Then you're happy days, that's where you want to be. So it's not a walk in the park. It requires really careful consideration and approach about how you communicate everything and how you read the room. The next thing is agile project management. And what happens and why this is so important is that typically when you showcase what Salesforce can do and you're doing a demo and you talk through the requirements, the wish list will end up being 100 things. The reality is their budget will probably be only for 50 or 70 of those things. So what happens in that situation when their wish list overextends their time and their budget? Agile project management allows you to have a very methodical way that the client understands and you understand, and you're on the same page about how to prioritize things to get that list of 100 things down to 70. And again, I sort of found this course because I was like, heck, I don't know what to do in this situation. Like, how do I manage a project in this way? How do I, again, document it? And the projects that have gone wrong is where those priorities haven't been, the client hasn't been aware of agile project management, hasn't really been taught it. They aren't agreeable with it, and then things aren't prioritized in that way, and they've gone, well, hang on a minute, why am I not getting the 100 things? I thought we'd get everything, and then it all falls to pieces. So with agile project management, you have to be of that nature where you are very confident in it. You're able to say no, you're able to hold your court. You've got to be able to say no. It doesn't suit those people who are a yes person, like they don't like to, that, oh, I want to give everybody, I feel bad that they're not getting everything. That you have to get over that, and the way to get over that is by having a very sort of recognized technological project management framework that is very renowned. And the reason that you can create authority around this is you will teach the client what agile project management is in an authoritative way, why it's used, why it's used around the world, how it can be used for an organization, and the value it can bring to a project, which means you feel confident about facilitating in that way, and the client gets it as well. And then you can both agree on the 70 things out of the 100. So it's a fantastic sort of framework, and it means that you're not then in that position with, if you're left sort of with the 100 requirements and you don't know agile project management, it means that you're not at risk of going, well, how do I get this client down, on requirements, and sort of sit with it. So it gives you that safety net. And then DevOps is the other area that's very much got a lot of attention recently, and this is about how to manage changes. It is more technically applied, but it's about how to manage changes in a live system, to make sure that everybody's on track and that there's no faults happening along the way. Say you go live, something breaks, you don't want that. So it's about understanding the DevOps process and how you kind of make things go live in a formulated way. So they're the different essential skills. I suppose just to recap on the problems and the failures here is, if requirements not gathered, prioritized and delivered to align to business goals, that is a real problem for the organization. And it will mean that you don't have that trailblazer story. It will mean that they have a plug and play of something that isn't hitting, they can't see the success. So quite often this is because the measures of success haven't been defined. I've seen that on projects that have even cost £2 million, and they're all scratching their head going, what value did we get for this? Why have we spent £2 million on it? And that is a nightmare. And it's because they didn't define the business goals in a very tangible way at the outset. And so your role as a Salesforce professional is to really help them align to their business goals and to make that very tangible and quantifiable at the beginning. And then everything really aligns to that in terms of how you prioritize everything, and it all aligns. And you see the outcomes that they want, because that's a success. That's what makes you happy as a Salesforce professional. It's what makes the client happy as a Salesforce customer, and keeps Salesforce happy, right? We're all aligned to Salesforce not being just a system that you build, it's a system that you implement to transform the way that organization works. And that's the reason that you do these projects, not to just plug and play a system to manage data. So it is about those aspects. The other kind of key problem is no consistent, clear documentation. So I've seen situations where documentation hasn't been done and nobody's got a record of what was done, why it was done, who asked for it to be done. and then there's a whole load of conflict around it, and then you end up having to still build stuff, you know, out because there's nothing there. People leave organizations and they don't know why, you know, things were done, and there's no history of it. It's just not the best way to manage things. So they can be some of the problems, and then that can lead to failure. So technology won't align to business need, which means that the system won't be adopted, and there's overspend on budget. And I have walked into plenty of organizations where they've had Salesforce for years, but nobody's using it, and we're going in and basically revamping it for them. And that's because none of these aspects were handled properly in the first instance, because there's a lot of rookie cowboy Salesforce consultants out there, you know, and I say that in the nicest possible way, because they haven't put these disciplines into place. So if you don't apply professional vigor, these are things that happen, and it's why you see systems that, you know, don't get adopted, which gives Salesforce a bad name, because people think it's Salesforce's fault. You know, Salesforce is the system's fault, and actually it's not. And it's the way that the system's built. And I've done that for that £2 million project that I reviewed. We went through like, well, why has this got to this point? You know, and we analysed everything, and it wasn't the product's fault. It was the strategy that was deployed as part of the rollout that meant that no value was really attained. And actually it was senior management that were holding all of that didn't hold it properly, partly because they didn't know what they had to do or know what to do. And so it was never really managed in a proper way. So then, you know, they didn't sort of see the value, and they were looking to move away from Salesforce. But after the work that I had done with them using my health check VA questionnaire, which is something we share with you, that transformed how they saw things, and then they brought into Salesforce and continued working with it. And I had Salesforce come to me to say, thank you so much for the work that you did, because now they're going to stay on as a customer. And so if you do things properly, it can be transformative because the organization understands what they're doing. So just a bit about me, I suppose, and why I love teaching this. I mean, I love, as you can tell, I'm probably very passionate about this. I've seen a lot of things that go wrong. I've been a Salesforce consultant for 9 years. I don't actively do consultant at the moment because I just really enjoy training people on it and running Supermums as an organization. But this is my fix every week. You know, I love the hour that I spend teaching people, sharing all the templates that I've put together. And quite often, a lot of these templates I wish I'd had at the beginning, you know, and actually I didn't do them soon enough. It was only as I grew a Salesforce consultancy that I had consultants that I was bringing in, realizing I had to train them and that we had to deliver consistent projects in a consistent way, that I then ended up building all these templates for my whole team to use. So we had that methodology, so I could teach them the things that I knew, because they hadn't had the benefit of all the courses and rigor that I had. Very few people invest in themselves in these areas unless somebody invests in them. And what was actually quite amazing is that a lot of Salesforce consultancies don't also invest in some of this training for them. They expect them to just wing it. And again, that's not the right way of doing things. So, you know, this is about you and your confidence, your credibility, your authority. Like, if you have this structure and you understand how things can be built, you are going to hit the ground running on your Salesforce projects straight away. There's no if, but, when of what you're doing. It's like I've combined all my years of experience and all the knowledge and all the training that I've done, all the professional training, into this course to equip you to hit the ground running really on it. And as I say, I've seen a lot of different projects, and we've got risk analysis matrix in there. So again, you can assess the risk of a project right at the outset with the customer and make sure that those things aren't going to go wrong wherever possible. Like, there's so much good stuff in here that, you know, just means that you're going to avoid any of those mistakes that have kept me up hours at night trying to fix. Quite frankly, I've spent a lot of hours fixing things that didn't get done in the way that they should have got done for various reasons. And you know, if you can avoid that, then great. So so I'll just go into the course content that we have here. So we cover business analysis, and we've got a whole set of BA scripts. So I'll share those in a minute, but we look at how to build a business case, we look at elicitation techniques, we look at documentation requirements, we look at BA scripts. And so the BA scripts sort of pad it out, and I'm going to show you an example of one of those. And then we have the change management, where I did a change management course. It was loads of theories all over the place. And I was like, well, how am I going to apply this? So I came home and wrote a whole methodology around change management that is very tailored to Salesforce projects, using one of those methodologies. And it's got 4 pillars to it. So we look at rationale and readiness and the different tools and techniques you'd use there. We look at the approach and the team that you need and the different tools there. We then look at how you lead and facilitate a team, and also how you mobilize an exec sponsor. And we give a whole range of tools and techniques there. And then we look at how you train and embed a system, and again, have a set of tools and techniques. So it's they're not necessarily structured in that you would do this one, this one, this one, you know, in a sequence. There are a range of tools that, yes, it is a sequential approach, but throughout a project, you probably use a range of tools at different points. So it's worth obviously watching the whole content, but you would apply these tools and techniques at different points. So it's very tailored to projects, which is useful. Then we look at agile project management. We look at DSDM method, Scrum method, how you prioritize requirements with customers, again, tools and systems and templates. And then we partner with DevOps at Capado to look at DevOps and some of those aspects. Now, what we also include in here, which makes it great value for content, is we include the Service Cloud and Sales Cloud exam prep days. Their normal cost commercially is $900 or £600 per course. So you get 2 of those. So already you've covered the cost of the course, by just getting those 2 things thrown in. So it makes it very good value, but they also really prep you to pass those additional certifications, which add loads of value to your CV as well. So these are an example of the BA scripts that you get. So we have one for your CRM strategy, because every organization should have a CRM roadmap stroke strategy. It can be called either of those things. So we have a whole set of questions that you'd ask an organization. You can give this questionnaire to them. We have a health check questionnaire, which is used if you are going into an organization and they already have Salesforce and have been using it for a number of years. So it's a set of quite robust checks that you would be doing. And I'll show that template in a moment. You can see like the depth of it. We then also have BA scripts and templates and PowerPoints for all of these as well, for Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Community Cloud, now known as Experience Cloud, payment integration, events management, e-marketing, grant management, impact management, and non-functional requirements. We've also got one for risk analysis as well. So you've got templates for gathering requirements and documenting everything. So there's a whole set of additional templates around that. And then during the 12 weeks, we also run live webinars. So some of this is additional information. Some of it I'm pulling out of the main week's on-demand content, because a lot of the content I've recorded that you can watch and go back to. So you have access to the content for a year, because the reality is you're not going to learn everything and remember it. But as you start working through projects, you'll dip back into the content and you can use the templates as you need, etc. But each week we do a live webinar where we make them participatory. I get you in breakout rooms. We talk through things. I test your knowledge. So it's, again, just helping with different learning styles. But we talk about the onboarding process and risk management matrix. We talk about what non-functional requirements are. And again, for each of these, you get a checklist to walk away with. We talk about agile project management and sort of do a Q&A on that, because I think it's really important. I talk about how you can set up a robust communication and training strategy for an organization. We look at health check. So I go through a questionnaire health check on that. We look at DevOps. We look at Service Cloud, Sales Cloud, BA questionnaires. And I go through those products as well, and like the way that those object entity diagrams sit. And there's demos of these systems also in the course. So you can see, if you're not familiar with them, we have demos so you can see how the systems work. We then also cover MPSP and payment integration, contact management and e-marketing, and then we do project toolbox. So we talk about all the different tools, like software that you can use as a consultant. You know, pros and cons of different ones, what's the suite of products you need. Again, I've learned so much about that on my journey of managing clients and managing teams, because and I asked out, actually, I got a lot of feedback from the Salesforce community about the different things that people use and the pros and cons. So there's a whole suite of products that different people use that you can go and check out for managing, as say, a Salesforce team internally, which is one set, and then how you would manage those relationships with the client, which might be the same system or different systems, and how you process map everything and document everything. So we go into like the practicals, and then we look at the offboarding process. And the offboarding process is really important because if a customer is left not really knowing how to manage their Salesforce system or what they need to do, then again, adoption will fail. So it's really that sort of after piece as part of it. So it's jam-packed full of things in here. We also have career coaching every fortnight. So we talk about different ways, you know, if you're looking for a job, this might be useful to, again, working on those softer mindset skills around how to build your confidence, how to communicate an interview. So we do fortnightly group coaching calls. You get a one-to-one hour coaching with me as part of the course as well, where you can ask any questions about your current situation, your projects at work. You can book that anytime during the course. You don't have to wait till the end. You know, I just really like getting nitty-gritty with, like, you know, what's going on with your projects or interviews or whatever, and help you prep. And then we also have our recruitment agency that places Salesforce consultants in both USA and UK. So they provide resume review, interview prep, and a range of job opportunities. And we are seeing, as say, our consultants come out and get really fantastic jobs in a whole range of consultancies. They've been very successful. And then you see them jump, you know, within 2 years, they've jumped somewhere else, increase their salary if they haven't managed to do it where they are. So over 12 weeks, this will start the second week of January, our next course. And over 12 weeks, you'll have 2.5 hours of on-demand training a week. That is the minimum, plus our live session, which is an hour. There is optional trailheads though. So if you want to do optional, you could have content up to 8 hours a week. That's not compulsory. We have included all the information in there to help you get your business analysis certification that you can do with Salesforce. So that will be sort of an outcome of the course, if you like, is that you feel confident to do that certification. We do the live sessions, as I've mentioned. You get the fortnightly coaching calls and you get the one-to-one coaching session. But the other thing that's been really powerful about this course for people has been the peer support element, because people really benefit from having a peer network of consultancy trainees. And they've got jobs through that, like they've networked and got jobs with each other. They've helped each other on projects. They've got together to do study prep with each other. You know, you put into it what you want to get out of it. So if you proactively network with people in the group, you can start to build those relationships. And so obviously if you don't engage in it, then you won't get much out of it. But if you actively sort of arrange to sort of try and make calls or connect with them or share things, we have a joint chatter group that you can share things, then definitely sort of relationships will start to be built on those. And I do breakouts in the live sessions, so you can get to know each other a bit better on those breakouts as well. So it's not always me talking at you as part of it. So that's the structure. And people are going for job interviews quite often throughout this whole process, or working on projects. So I also invite you to bring questions to each live session, and we can talk about those things. So it's not always me talking at you. I'll be like, right, has anything come up this week that you want to share? And people find that really useful for those impromptu. One, I love helping people, so I love those questions. But secondly, you know, what's going on for one person is useful for another person to listen to, or might be relevant for them as well. So what people have said about the course is that it's very well structured and organised in order to guide you through all the steps of an implementation. Lots of valuable detailed information, templates and checklists that make any consultant's life easier and deliver the best quality of work. Another one here, the consultancy programme has given me practical resources and a new language and concepts to use with clients and teams I interact with. I felt much more confident, for example, describing the agile project management methodology and catering for different learning styles. That's always a big aha moment, actually, learning styles. People don't understand, like, people need to be trained in different ways because they have their own preferred learning method. And then it says, I have a greater understanding of change management, and that's allowed me to gain greater buy-in by senior management. That's another kind of key issue with projects, is if the senior management team aren't bought in, they won't invest the time and resources, and that's a big problem. So change management really helps with that. Progressing through here, I think the best thing about it so far is the quality of the information. Everything's been relevant to me, and I wish I knew it all before I started as a solo Salesforce admin. I'd recommend it to anyone who's passed their admin cert. And after completing my admin cert, I really wanted the skills to design new systems and respond to different stakeholders. I really enjoyed the consultancy course. It's given me confidence to deliver with a clear process. So I love hearing this, obviously, because it feels like, you know, I'm helping people and it's given them the confidence to move through. So we very much advocate that people do this. We offer the course is £1,200 sterling or $1,600. As I say, this is pretty fantastic value given the salary potential that you could earn from it. But equally, the training that I did, as I say, I spent over £11,000 or $50,000 worth of 11 weeks of training covering all those topics. And I've condensed all of that and what you need in this information, plus obviously giving you live coaching experience from the projects I've worked on in what is, you know, sort of a fantastic price. Now we have got a Black Friday deal as well, and the Black Friday deal gives you 20% off this price if you book before next Wednesday. So that reserves your spot on the course for January. If you are joining us as a Salesforce administrator, we offer a bundle deal where you can also get a discount on the consultancy skills course when you sign up for both at the same time. So we've had quite a few people doing that as well because they want to get the whole raft of skills. So as I say, you get the Sales Cloud and Service Cloud exam prep days thrown in for free, which are worth £600 or $900 per day each. So you've already covered the cost of those in this as part of it. And we can get you 50% off your certification vouchers, plus a focus on the Force membership. So it's got all those different things sort of thrown in. So what we want to do at Supermums is allow you to sort of find out how to engage, enthuse and empower people. Quite often where people are now is they've got no structure, no documentation, no process, no solution, which means quite often that leads to poor engagement with stakeholders, poor understanding, poor adoption of a system. They feel stagnant in a role and they're not progressing. So if that resonates with anything where you are, where this course can get you to is that you've got that clear structure, you've got clear documentation, you've got a clear process, which means you know what you're doing. That's going to inevitably lead to a great solution, high engagement, and a greater understanding and high adoption of the system, which is what you want. Plus, personally, you're going to get a higher salary level, as I say, through a promotion, through a job move, through landing that first job, and the career progression opportunity. Because if you invest in yourself, they'll recognize that. We have had employers pay for this course for people before as well. So that's always an option. And they see that and they can know that you're doing a better job. So if you are in a job, that's always obviously an option that you can do as well. So the outcome of the course is we want you to feel empowered with the confidence, skills and knowledge to understand and direct Salesforce implementations. That's kind of where we want you to get to. Now, in terms of looking at a sort of a sample health check template, you know, we give access to this one for free as a free download. I think you can see that now. Yeah. So this is an example health check review that we did. It goes through, you know, all these different areas from organizational review, product and user adoption review, system and governance management review, data governance and management review, and it gives you the whole template of questions that you would be doing and the exercises that you would be doing. So you can see here, this is a template that you would fill in as a Salesforce professional for a customer, and it gives you all the questions and narrative that you need. So we really do hold your hand throughout this whole process to allow you to know, you know, this is what you do in the first 4 weeks of going into a customer that's already got Salesforce implemented. It kind of gives you everything in one place. So it's all very mapped out. Obviously, you can rebrand it. You don't have to have the branding. The branding's in here as our template product, but any of the presentations we share with you or the BA scripts we share with you, you can rebrand as your own, because we want them to be there for you to use. So that's an example of that. So are there any questions that have come through from that? Happy for you to ask or put them in Zoom in the chat. No worries. Thank you, Malik. Well, hopefully that's been useful for you. So if you've got any questions, I'll put my email is heather@supermumsconsulting.com. So great to have you enrolled, Malik. Thank you very much. If you've got any questions, reach out to us. We have our career coaching team are always on hand as well. So you can book in a call with them. You can download the pack. They're very happy to have conversations with you. Our career coaching team are career coaches in effect. They're not there to sell something to you unless it's going to add value to your career. So we very much want to empower people at Supermums. We're there to sort of encourage, guide, talk through the options, look at the scenarios, help you make considered decisions. So yeah, do reach out to us if there's anything else that would be useful for you to know. Great, yes, thank you, Dorette. Yeah, call Maria. Call Maria and she can go through it with you. Obviously, if she doesn't know the answer to the questions, then you can reach out to me as well. I'm happy for people, I love people reaching out to me on LinkedIn as well. I always feel like my team are answering everything, right? I'm like, I'm here, I can help. So I love it when people do reach out to me directly. Because I think people are scared. I'm like, don't be scared of talking to me. Like, I set up Supermums to connect with other people like me, right? So I'm human, I'm normal, I'm just been through a lot of years of experience of learning these projects, and I just want to help people succeed quickly and fast and not make all the same mistakes that you do from the outset. Plus also I want women to earn well, right? And men, obviously. We have men and women on the course from all over the USA and the UK. So thank you, Sadie, for always giving our post likes. We just want to help empower people, and that's why I love sharing content and being an educator around that. So it's been fantastic to see where all our alumni go and where they end up. So thank you very much for joining this evening, wherever you are in the world. I know we've got a bit of a broad variety, and as I say, reach out to us if there's anything else we can do. I have run over, I always do, I chat too much. That's 45 minutes. I'll let you enjoy the rest of your evening or day, depending on where you are, and hopefully see some of you soon on the course. Take care. Bye. Bye.